Mr. Manager.
Yes, Commission, tonight we have one work session item, and that is the Solid Waste District Annual Report. And with us are Chuck Bauer and Bonnie Martins to talk to us about the Solid Waste Annual Report and just about the Clark County Solid Waste District. So with that, I'll turn it over.
Is this on? Yep. So I would like to say thank you for having us. We are with the Clark County Solid Waste District. Kind of an overview of what I'm going to be talking about, the different programs that we have. I don't know why that red mark there. As well as some of the contracts that we have and just our overall programs, if you're not familiar with what a solid waste district is. Our mission, of course, is to ensure that all Clark County residents have, and businesses have access to comprehensive solid waste services, which is essentially your trash service. Our director is Chuck Bauer, sitting beside me, and our goal is to provide education and assistance and support with not only waste programs, but recycling and education as well. Most of 2024, because this is, of course, last year's plan and report, we, every 5 years, have to update a 15-year plan that then is approved by the Ohio EPA. The Solid Waste District is overseen by a policy committee of 7 members, both related to commissions, large businesses, and residents. We have to get that plan approved from all of the political jurisdictions, at least 60% throughout the county. So the different townships, villages, et cetera. For finishing up that plan, we ended up with a 94% approval rate of the updated plan. The Solid Waste District contracts with both the Sheriff Office and the Health Department. And what the Sheriff contract involves with us on a daily basis is that we typically receive calls about items that have been dumped illegally, mostly calls that have been about items that are alongside roads, in alleyways, blocking them, or that have been sitting on roadsides, tires, mattresses, etc. Our deputies, in 2024, we had 341 of those calls, and that was up about 40 calls from the 2023 year. They do investigations. That doesn't necessarily mean the investigations are finding out who did it, if possible, and taking a course of action. And then a lot of times they do just pick up the items and then we get them either recycled and or disposed of. Our 2 deputies by the truck there, when I talk about the calls of complaints that we get in, that lower photo kind of gives you an example of something that was dumped maybe in an alleyway or on the side of a road. Our deputies oversee a Pride crew, which is inmates that have done minor infractions, and they use those for our community service program. They help remove the trash in the alleyways along the roads. They have, in 2024, collected just over 1,000 bags of trash between alleyways, township roads, etc. And then they do keep track of the inmates' hours, that if they were paying someone to do all these cleanups, the just over 12,000 service hours with the Pride crew that they have, which is anywhere from 4 to about 8 crew members. Our health district supports the Solid Waste District's goals by and related specifically to the Solid Waste District, as far as any of the trash trucks that come into the county are inspected by the health department, as well as making sure that the compost facilities are staying up to code. They do as well handle complaints and inspections, and sometimes we go back and forth on the different calls. They'll send calls to us, we send calls to them. And then with the scrap tires, they do the inspections of any businesses that sell tires and or store them. And then what they're checking for is that those businesses are keeping up with fire lanes and spraying for mosquitoes, etc. So kind of a quick overview of the next part of the program. We have a specialty recycling program that happens weekly on Thursdays and that first Saturday of the month. We have 6 drop-off recycling locations. If you want to recycle, but either your curbside trash service doesn't offer it for where you live, or the cost constraints don't allow you to recycle curbside, we have an education specialist that goes into classrooms and does public programs as well. And then we have some community programs that we are involved with annually. So as far as the recycling program goes, the specialty recycling, as I said, weekly on Thursdays and the first Saturday of each month. In 2024, we had just over 3,200 residents that paid to dispose of these items that you see. Electronics, household hazardous waste, which are your chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, pool chemicals, automotive fluids, etc. Cans of used paint that have been sitting in the garage. We have started allowing residents that, again, curbside trash service doesn't really allow for, say, a bulk item pickup, mattresses or chairs, couches, and they can bring those in. And we have a contract with CNS Tree Service. What that does, in 2020, there was a little bit of an issue with residents bringing yard waste. They used to accept it for free. There were some constraints there, so the Solid Waste District created a contract with CNS Tree so that residents can take, and municipalities can take, yard waste to the facility for free. If somebody has a small amount, a bag or two, and they don't want to go out onto the potentially muddy area where residents can drop these, the yard waste at CNS Tree, they can bring it to us. And then we have a little bin that then we take once every couple weeks to CNS Tree. You can see the amount of tons that we collected, and most of these items have a small fee, not necessarily what we pay to have electronics recycled and or paint disposed of correctly, but we do offer some small fees for these items so that it offsets the costs a little. To the drop-off recycling, the 6 locations that we have, part of that plan that we turn into the Ohio EPA has each district reach a 25% goal for residential and commercial recycling to increase the longevity of the landfills. Currently, based on 2023 numbers, because we get Ohio EPA's numbers a year behind our numbers, so for 2023, we were at 37.2% diversion from landfills. Residents, as I said, can use these. The goal right now is to get everybody really to understand they are not places that trash can go. These are strictly for household recycling items, such as your aluminum cans, bottles, newspaper, magazines, cardboard, and then plastics, which can get a little tricky. Any resident can always give us a call if they're curious if something is or is not recyclable related to plastic. So as I said, Sam Perrin is our education specialist. He goes into the classrooms, kindergarten through 12th grade, although primarily he focuses kindergarten through probably 7th, 8th grade. He goes into the classrooms and builds on the programs so that kindergarten, he's reading a book. By 2nd grade, they're talking about and creating paper. So this kind of what looks green and orange, he has torn up pieces of paper. Everyone in the classroom has a job to do, and they create this little piece of handmade paper. And then he builds each year so that he's not doing the same 2nd grade program, so that when those 2nd graders or 3rd graders, they're like, oh, I saw this last year. So it really builds. He has reached in 2024 over 2,800 students, and then visited 21 of the schools in Clark County, which is up from 16 the year before. community programs that the Solid Waste District works to provide. We collaborate with Wittenberg University for their students getting into the community program. We get usually 1 to 2 interns per semester. We have a Facebook page through our Keep Clark County Beautiful board. So if you want to find out both what Keep Clark County Beautiful and our Solid Waste District programs are, you can find that through that Keep Clark County Beautiful Facebook page. We, through Keep Clark County Beautiful, do a Great American Cleanup each spring, March 20th through about June 20th. This is a program where we provide gloves and trash bags to any individuals, families, scout troops of any sort, 4-H groups, etc. And they can clean up around their neighborhood, along the school programs will do that as well. And then any public right-of-way. So our parks, our bike paths, where the scout troops or 4-H groups might meet, they clean up around that particular church or school where they meet. We also, around Earth Day, offer a downtown cleanup of downtown Springfield. And in 2024, we had the 58 volunteers picking up 55 bags of litter throughout this 40 kind of core block of downtown Springfield. And our Keep Clark County Beautiful board members helped to plant mums last fall, and we'll be doing that again in September. We also have our own Adopt a Spot program where we pick up litter along a section of bike path that we had board members help and pick up about that eight bags of litter last year. 2 new programs in 2024 are our Make Clark County a Litter Bit Better. We are trying to connect with businesses throughout Clark County, not just Springfield, but throughout the county. Again, to kind of clean up along where the businesses are. We would show up with a staff member who then brings these litter pickup supplies, grabbers, trash bags, gloves, and we clean up along the road or around 2 or 3 blocks of where the business is of litter. Then we actually bring all that litter back, unless, of course, there's a dumpster or trash service that they can put the 1 or 2 bags of litter from that cleanup into. Otherwise, we bring it back with us even, and it just requires about an hour of that business's staff time. We also applied for a grant to make recycling at the larger kind of food truck recycling events more handy. Instead of renting basically renting a roll-off for recycling, we deliver it, we talk to the people and make sure that the recycling either clear streams, say at the Summer Arts Festival, or recently, as in the Jazz Fest and our food truck competition. Summer Arts Festival tends to have the Clearstream frames in that bottom photo, and then the hard-sided black and blue containers are at more of the weekend events so that they don't blow over quite as much. And we actually have built on that program from 2024 this year. So if you do have any questions, either myself or Chuck can answer them. Again, I'm the program manager, and our website is the 32 Trash, and we are located on that 1602 West Main Street. For our office buildings, that's the one with the mural, and then next door, 1620, is where that specialty recycling.
Thank you, Bonnie. Questions from members of the commission?
I don't really have a question, but I wanted to say thank you. This is just wonderful news. And just love to hear that you guys are partnering with Springfield City Schools. And I got super excited when I saw Miss Cottle, who is a wonderful veteran teacher, on the screen. So I just truly appreciate the work that you guys do to beautify the county. Thank you.
Also want to thank you for the work you do. I'm fortunate enough to serve a couple committees with you and go out and pick up some trash a few times a year. I also want to thank the Pride participants that work to keep the city clean as well. Can you clarify a little bit more on what enforcement looks like? And then the second thing I'm going to ask is, we get asked all the time about volunteers, and what is the best way to direct volunteers to you?
Well, as far as the the two sheriff deputies, I mean, really, I kind of like to say that if somebody has dumped a tire or a mattress in an alleyway or side of the road, they don't usually say belongs to with their phone number and address. However, they do investigate if bags of trash are left. They try to see maybe where it came from, especially if it's a repeat area. They do try to discover who left it and either contact them. They have actually taken the bags of litter back to whoever it was that dumped it and said this is not an appropriate way to dispose of it. It can be tricky to get them actually charged in a court, but that would be the next step. As far as volunteers go,
Yeah, I guess, so volunteers, are you talking more about volunteers that may want to help clean up the city or their neighborhoods? So certainly contacting us or Bonnie at 2020 and just say, hey, we what can we do to clean up? We're more than willing to coordinate and help them have supplies to go out and explain to anyone that would like to do that how it can be done. So we support that all year round, but the focus would be Great American Cleanup when we really shine a light on this is springtime. It's a program that Keep Park County Beautiful affiliate helps us organize as a community. So we definitely centered around there, but any time of year, we'd be happy to take volunteers. So we have adopt-a-spot programs that would also kind of fit into that, where people may want to regularly clean up a particular area of a roadway, put up signs for that to acknowledge that they are doing that work. So there's some other programs related to volunteers.
I would say the biggest thing about the Great American Cleanup is that through a donation from Rumpke, we have 4 locations, New Carlisle, Moorfield Township. There's a container that is in basically downtown Springfield where if the area that you cleaned up doesn't really have a place that you can put the bag or 2 of litter, you can take it to one of these 4 locations where Rumpke has this bin. Outside of that March through June program, it really falls on the cleanup crew that's doing the cleaning up the park or around their church or neighborhood to just divide the bags of trash between the neighbors, or again, if it's a church group, that they put it in the church receptacle, whether it's a individual like roller cans or a dumpster. That's the tricky part outside of that. If it really came down to it, we can help with that, but generally we ask the cleanup volunteers to put it in the container that they're helping in that area.
Comment and a couple of questions. I was so pleased that you've now are recycling styrofoam packing materials.
Yeah, I didn't.
I went out 2 weeks ago and the dumpster was full. I had to come back on a Thursday. But tell us a little about that, because not food containers, as an example, cannot be recycled by and large.
No, the styrofoam program that we have is for that electronics, white, pre-shaped, non-bendy material. If you get medicines or meat shipped to you in those styrofoam coolers, it's that type of styrofoam, not housing insulation, that green or colored foams. We can and do get those recycled. We have a densifier that through a different grant allows us to break it down into smaller amounts that then we take, and it does get recycled down in Mason, Ohio.
The other thing that I know you have available is your cleanup trailer. And tell us a little about what's in it, and then how an organization or a person can work with you to use the trailer.
So if a neighborhood group wanted to get together, they don't necessarily have shovels, wheelbarrows, mowers, trimmers, etc.
All of those things are in the trailer.
They're
So,
in the
yeah.
trailer, And we also include, of course, gloves, trash bags, vests. You can't really say, I don't like my neighbor's yard. We are going to get together as a neighborhood and clean up my neighbor's yard. It has to be a group, working together to clean up an entire neighborhood. And we ask that at least 5 adults be participating in this. And then we deliver the trailer and on typically a Friday and pick it up on a Monday. And then that neighborhood or church group, because the church might not have access to all of that. And, they want to do a cleanup of their property or something like that. So that can be rented essentially free of charge. We ask for a deposit only so that we know everything comes back with it. So.
And would you make that trailer or its contents available to the businesses? You talked about working with businesses to pick up around their
Oh, yeah,
particular
certainly, yeah.
business.
The requirements are, like Bonnie said, we wanted to have five adults, so we know we have a group of people that are using it. It's not designed for just an individual to use at their home. So that's the intent of the program, but absolutely we would encourage that. Yes.
Well, as Commissioner Brown said, keep up the good work. And as Commissioner Tackett said, I've noticed the community, because I've been out on some of those litter pickups, by and large, we're getting a little cleaner. It's taken us a while, and it's not something any one group can do, but by working together again, we can get a lot accomplished in keeping our community safe and clean. So thank you for your effort.
Any questions about recycling, just give us a call.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank you
for
for your
doing such
time.
a great job. Is there a motion to conclude the informal session? It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.